some of the things we'll be looking at today. A patient was abandoned at Gomoa, Winneba. Gomoa Ojobi, the Winneba Trauma Hospital medical director, has been suspended as the Ghana Health Service begins a probe into what really happened. The constitutional amendments, conversations, review committee proposes a cap on the size of parliament and demands also that presidents, in that office should pay tax. Now, of course, you know that if the president pays tax, it means everybody else will pay tax. It doesn't exempt anybody at all. Then we're looking at the issue of erratic power supply. Gridco announces a 3-week load shedding over gas supply shortage. Right, so we'll get into those stories shortly. I have been joined in the studio by Mensa Thompson. He's the Executive Director for Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA, as well as Jeffrey Kabute Okansi, Executive Director for Revenue Mobilization Africa. Gentlemen, you're welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you. And thanks for having us.
How are you doing?
Yeah, we're doing good.
By the way, happy Father's Day,
the Father's Day, the ones that came with only food pictures on our phone, the virtual wishes. No, I mean, come on. Let us have, even on Father's Day, people wanted us to be rather giving them gifts. I think we have to reverse the trend.
No, was that your experience?
Well, that's what some people were doing.
Yes. Me, I was taking out for breakfast. No, I was taking out for breakfast.
Well, yes. You were lucky. In this world, you can start here. We also suspect. But I mean, to our Muslim friends, Baraka de Salah to them.
Absolutely.
But from Friday, I'm waiting for invitation, and none is coming from my Muslim friends. So today I will visit them. Yes, I will visit them with my bull. And then.
No, I've made phone calls yesterday. I've been promised.
Yes. Oh yes.
So I'm waiting.
I mean, yes. So to all fathers, a very good wish to all of them. Some of the people who actually, some didn't even have the chance of having children, but they fathered all of us. They gave love.
That's
to
a
all
very
of us.
important statement you just
especially
made.
those
right
fathers.
Yeah.
Yes, I know some of them who never had children, but then they still fathered children all around them, and some even lost their own. I have a father on my heart, and I think we should dedicate it to him. Not to mention his name, but this man lost his only daughter, and then lost a wife too.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, for such a man, I mean, he's working, and I pray for him every day.
Wow.
For such pain to be walking in the sun, Charlie, it's not easy. But I have one small thing. I saw something posted by Madame Giftia Fenidazi.
About what?
About the economy and how life is right now, and what she was saying. You know what? I want to say something. You remember those adverts about aglow, aglow, aglow?
Yeah.
Be aglow for Jesus.
Yeah, be aglow for Jesus.
It was painted as if we were burning in some fire. Look, me, I know one thing. When I was growing up, there were some people and some things implanted in me, and it's difficult to change it. Like when I see a doctor, I had some, I saw them in another light. Doctor, pastor, teacher. I saw them. I revered them so much. And there's a saying in Ghana. Whenever something they say, "Abi yomwe," and I'm thinking going to go to
old lady.
Go beside Do you know why that thing came?
Why?
It is perceived that the old women will be of no lie. They are not biased. They are truthful. And so my little one, I can say, let me end here before I get into trouble.
I say she's
gray hair must bring truth and fairness. You see, the way if you have 2 children or more, you see, you cannot teach them equally, like but equity is very, very, very important. Fairness, not equality.
Not equality.
Equity.
Yeah.
You balance it well. Your language yesterday should guide you. For me, I forgive people, I don't forget.
Okay.
I forgive, I don't forget. And I've said it on this show before, and I'll repeat it. I mean, if I went with somebody and we were in the bar, he drank 10 bottles and slapped me. If he starts drinking and gets to the 4th bottle, I'll be gone.
So that you avoid any...
Yes. Okay. Yesterday must guide us.
Okay.
Yesterday we heard some of them what they said. Pastors telling us that their church members were also Ghanaians. I don't know whether now their church members are Angolans. Respectfully, I say. or they are Mozambicans, or they are Iraqis. You see, that bar of justice should exist every day. The language, what we go through yesterday, look, every Ghanaian know what we are going through now, tough times, but we are all managing, and we're coming out of it. It's good. But watch yesterday how you spoke, and today.
But when somebody speaks,
no,
but when somebody speaks, and circumstances change, and the person changes their mind, what is it? Somebody made this comment, said, "What is the use of a mind that does not change?" We all change our mind.
Yeah, you have to change your mind, but for what? Are you changing for the best or for the worst?
Okay, your introductory comments, because this man, I don't know where he's going.
Yes, Kwaku. I mean, happy Father's Day to all fathers.
Thank you very much. I received
yes,
it.
including you, Jeff, myself.
But some fathers are broke, Charlie.
I'm telling you.
What does that got to do
You
with
know,
anything?
on Father's Day,
Really?
on Mother's Day, they start making the noise 2 weeks before the event.
Charlie.
You hear advert.
No, let's ask City. City, did you
I
organize some
actually
Father's
got
Day
to
dinner?
know it was Father's Day yesterday.
But you people,
Did you organize some-
no,
it's a simple question, Kuku. Did you organize some Father's
I
Day dinner?
actually
or
got
lunch?
to
Okay,
know
you
it
when you
was
finish
Father's Day
asking
yesterday.
a question, I'll answer. I have an answer for you.
That is a question.
No,
Now
I have
we
an
did the
answer.
same
No, I
thing.
have an answer for you.
That is all I'm asking.
You let him finish. When he lands, I'll answer your question.
Okay.
I actually got to know yesterday morning that it was Father's Day.
But that's your fault.
Eh?
That's
How?
your
But
fault.
How are you
The
supposed to
announcements were
know?
not there.
There was no announcement.
No write any essay,
nothing,
type some
no-
short message
no
about your mother. No
An
something.
ode to father.
no, take your father. Oh, come and bring your father on a date. Oh, nothing. All we heard was Father's Day came, and by 6 p.m. it was finished.
Yapo.
It was finished.
Okay,
but
okay.
Koku, I mean,
Yes, go
I
ahead.
think that it's important that we celebrate men. Men are not celebrated enough, not just in Ghana, but across the world. And I think that we cannot underestimate the role that men play in the lives even of children, even in building society. And sometimes we also deserve a little bit of commendations as well. So, I mean, I want to use this opportunity to wish all men happy Father's Day, and I mean, to keep them strong. We know it's difficult when things are tough. It's the men that bears the brunt. But as we, even wish men happy Father's Day, it is important that we wish some women who are both mothers and fathers at the same time. They also deserve that commendation as well.
Okay.
On this special day. And Kweku, tomorrow there's going to be a mammoth demonstration in Accra here.
Mammoth.
A mammoth.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay. Why? What's going on?
And it's called the Hands Off Labadi Beach Hotel. Hands Off Snit Properties and Hands Off Snit Assets. It's a demonstration that is led by the ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Honorable Samoloko Jetua Blakwa. That is geared to stop the illegal, unsolicited, unwarranted sale of the assets of SNET, including the profitable Labadi Beach Hotel and other assets which are being disposed of in a very ridiculous, opaque, and unwarranted manner that defies all principles of accountability, value for money, and national interest. And I think that it is important that we all come off the streets tomorrow to stop this act. Kweku, I think the tradition of the NPP in disposing of strategic assets of the state is becoming extremely unbearable. And I think that tomorrow we're going to make that statement that we cannot bear, we cannot continue to watch on. Whilst this particular tradition, anytime they assume office, they don't build any asset for the state. The ones that they have inherited, they make it their business to dispose it off. And even if they are disposing it off, they don't do it in a transparent and fair, equitable manner with respect for value for money. They just dish it off to their cronies in a way, a manner that even leave the devil wondering whether Ghanaians are even right-thinking people. You know, so I think that it's important that we solidarize. So we officially, as a SEPA and our allied agencies, we all solidarize with the demonstration tomorrow, with the demonstration held by the ranking member, and we entreat all well-meaning Ghanaians tomorrow, please, step out in your numbers. Come out. Let's demonstrate against this. We cannot watch on whilst the country that is crying over pennies. People are being left to die. People are hungry. And the government who is responsible to fix these problems, his only interest is to dispose of, sell our assets, right center. When you be a man say esabon chrono. Modi mase o mine na say ye ho kire ya. At least ejapade abobeto ye no so munya maye. At least if everybody comes and they sell off the state assets, will you inherit some to even attempt to sell? Look at the fictitious circumstances which they sold Ghana Telecom those days. Look at what they did to Ghana Airways.
But you know, but the comment you're making,
it is the same group of people.
I think it's a bit too generalized in the sense that if you say Ghana Telecom, for example, fictitious circumstances and all that, would we not say that the company that it is today is a lot more profitable and has benefited Ghanaians far more?
That is not the argument that we are making.
That's not the argument. Okay, what's the argument?
You see, and again, I think that this is where sometimes, I get upset. Because people deliberately run down these state institutions.
Okay.
Make it unprofitable.
Okay. And then
use it as an excuse.
All right. Okay.
To dispose it off to their cronies.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And there are and I can give you several examples. Several examples. You know, one of the Labadi Beach hotels where they are selling, an acting MD is demanding $18,000 for acting, not as his main salary, as bonus for acting for a period of 6 months. If you run a hotel like this, how do you expect that hotel to be profitable? And then you come back to tell us that that hotel is not profitable, so you want to sell it off.
Okay.
So Kwaku, the same crop of people who sold our Ghana Telecom, who sold our Ghana Airways, who disposed of a vital asset of GMPC. You remember Katie Hammond? I'm concluding.
Yes,
when he
please,
carried
for us.
our drill ship, went to sell our drill ship, a strategic asset of GMPC, and then he came back, he told us that, when we asked him questions, he told us that his mother is sick. And so if we ask him questions, his mother will die. Today, he is Minister for Trade. These are the same crop of people who today are attempting to dispose of strategic assets of the state.
Okay, let's move on.
We cannot allow them. So tomorrow, everybody come out in your numbers. Let's stop this barbaric action against the state. Ghana deserves better. We need to protect strategic assets of this country so that the future generation can come and they also inherit something and they will not say that their predecessors were useless.
All right, thank you. Right, so let's just move on. There's a story that requires our investigation, and I want to hear what you have to say about this. The story is on ChannelOneNews.com. Winneba Trauma Hospital, the director suspended pending investigation into alleged abandonment of patient at Gomwa Ojobi. Story goes on to say the medical director of the Winneba Trauma and Specialist Hospital has been temporarily relieved of his duties pending an investigation by a committee established by the Ghana Health Service. This inquiry follows allegations of the abandonment of a patient in a bush at Gomwa Ojobi in the central region. Now, the Ghana Health Service has put together a committee to investigate the circumstances that led to the unfortunate demise of the 44-year-old accident victim. Now, the committee tasked to conduct the investigation includes the Deputy Director General of the Ghana Health Service, a consultant orthopedic surgeon from the Ridge Hospital, and a representative from the Ministry of Health. Now, there's also a representative from the Social Welfare Department and a senior nurse manager. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health has directed the Health Service Ghana Health Service to submit a report on the investigation's findings within 30 days. And you can see below the actual statement that came out directing the committee to do the investigation. This is signed by Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuaje, who is the Director General of the Ghana Health Service. And then below that, you also see a statement from the Ministry of Health. That's the Minister, Dr. Okoboy, directed to the Director General of the Ghana Health Service. So, let's get right into it. I'll start with Mensa. I'm sure you've followed this story. It's been out for a few days now, and now we are at this point here. What does this speak of when it comes to the culture of health practice in Ghana? And some may say this action we are seeing is a positive one.
Yes, Kuku, yes. And for the first time, let me commend the Ghana Health Service for the swift response in respect to that. In fact, we spoke on the matter on Friday morning because I saw it on the news on Thursday evening. And Kwaku, it was so painful watching the news.
Yeah.
It was so, emotional that practitioners, people who have sworn an oath to hold a duty of care to patients, took a patient from a medical facility and went to dump her in a bush. And their sole reason was that the woman suffered an accident, and since they brought her to the hospital, no family member has visited her. 2, she suffered some small mental problem or challenge or difficulty, and so so from that, she makes noise and disturbs the facility. These are the 2 issues, the 2 grounds that qualified medical practitioners stood on to cause the death of this innocent woman. Koku, what crime have we committed in this country? And this goes to the extent of, to speak to how much we value human life and how much worth the life of a Ghanaian is. Koku, in other jurisdictions, the Minister of Health will resign today. It doesn't care whether he has a hand in an authority. The Minister of Health, he would resign not because he's culpable or complicit in the act, but because he owns a supervisory jurisdiction and that he has failed in a supervisory jurisdiction. And Kwaku, these issues, you may think that it's just an isolated incident, but there are a number of causative agents in this particular incident that's happened. You cannot separate government's total abandonment in terms of resources to our medical facilities from this action, from this incident that happened. You cannot separate it.
Is this not a bunch of renegade medical personnel in an isolated facility?
Absolutely.
Misbehaving?
Absolutely, Koku, absolutely. And this matter, we won't even attempt to politicize it. It's a sheer negligent, reckless action by undeserving medical practitioners who betrayed their oath of service to this country and to their profession. And it's important that we call them out as it is. And we are doing so. And we are happy about the actions taken by the Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health. But going forward, to perceive this incident that happened merely as an isolated incident, we'll be missing an important point and an important opportunity to reform our medical service delivery, especially the culture of government towards medical facilities, so that we can prevent such occurrences in the future. We can't talk about this today and let another happen tomorrow, just like we do with several disasters in this country. But Kweku, the medical practitioners who were directly or indirectly involved in this woman's action, the interdiction, the suspension is one. But we believe that this matter should be handed to the security agencies for criminal investigation. Because what happened was not only professional negligence, but criminal negligence. It was purely criminal negligence.
I agree. What were the outcomes when you were taking the action? So the intent and the action
and I want to read,
death. It's very obvious.
And I want to read the Criminal and Other Offences Act, Act 29, on the provisions relating to negligence. It says a person causes an event negligently. If he caused the event, he causes it by voluntary act, done without such skill and care as are reasonably necessary under the circumstance. Criminal negligence. That a medical practitioner, a patient suffers an accident, is brought to your facility. Throughout the stay, no family member has visited the patient. In law, the question we ask is, what will a reasonable person do? Kweku, you are not a medical practitioner.
No.
If you go to your home today and you find an injured person on your doorstep, you look for the person's relatives, ask around, nobody is coming. As a reasonable person, what will you do?
I mean, you take action. You call authorities. You
call
do
security agencies,
something.
right? You call people.
You
right?
do something to.
Yes, we have the Department of Social Welfare in this country, don't we?
Yeah.
There's no Department of Social Welfare in Winneba.
There is.
There's a Ministry of Gender and Social Protection, right? Do they understand the social protection in the name of the ministry? Social protection. Do they understand what it means?
No, but you see, it's a hospital. So for me, it even goes beyond calling for help. You are a hospital. You're equipped and given capacity
but I'm speaking
to deal with this medical problem.
Yes, but I'm speaking to the fact that no relative and the person has suffered some mental distress.
No, but there's a relative have to appear before you help the person.
So they said that they've detained the patient for some time. Now the patient has suffered some mental incapacity, and because of that, she's not able to even tell who or where her relatives are.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. As a reasonable medical practitioner, what should you do? You refer the matter to the appropriate agencies.
Yeah.
And then they take action.
Yeah.
That you were able to carry a patient, put her in an ambulance
out of your facility,
then put her on a wheelchair, dump her in a bush. My God, these people, none of them deserve to practice medicine in this country again. And they must be prosecuted because they negligently caused the death of this woman. But whilst we are chastising them, we are appealing to government. You see, the deteriorating conditions of our health service delivery, our healthcare delivery in this country, is something that must be watched. And I'm speaking in respect of resources to the medical facilities. And the reasons why medical equipment and medicines have been abandoned at the port. Kwaku, so you see, sometimes when we say leadership is by example, that is what it means.
Show
When
us
the
the way.
government itself doesn't demonstrate
Yeah.
enough commitment towards healthcare delivery, when the government itself doesn't demonstrate enough, appetite towards providing adequate health care, when the government itself doesn't demonstrate enough value for the lives of its citizens, this is some of the things, the trickling effect of some of these things.
All right.
Koko, I'm ending the point today on the medicines that have been abandoned at the port. That's a taxpayer in another jurisdiction country collect their taxpayers' resources, use the money to procure medicines and equipment, and send it to you.
And they add clearing money as well.
They add money to clear them.
Yeah.
And for me, that is even the most bizarre
Why should
aspect
they
of
even
it.
add clearing money? And they've added clearing money.
Who, the revenues from the port, who does it go to? Is it not government?
Yeah.
Is this not the same people
And we
who,
give waivers for all kinds
who
of
have been,
things.
this year alone, over $400 million in terms of tax waivers for ridiculous businesses, cronies. And we sit there and
Okay.
medicines rot.
We need to move on.
And people need tuberculosis medications, they need other medications, and they don't have access to these
We need to move
medications.
on.
And then people are dying.
Okay. Thank you.
And so, even though we salute the Ministry of Health for the action that they've taken, they've even lost the moral grounds to even take action against this guy, because
Thank you.
they themselves haven't demonstrated enough value
All right,
for the
thank you.
life of the Ghanaian citizen.
Thank you. Thank you. The minister says he will be, in 2 weeks' time, everything will be clear from the port. But let's address this issue.
Right.
Yes, your take.
I think this is the height of wickedness. You know, this is how we have reduced society, our Ghanaian society. That I say this thing to people when we were all Ghanaians. I remember just yesterday in the 80s, cap up to the 90s, when you were just passing, hey, umami wa saying, "To your thing, boy,
what's that?
no more being eh." You know, then they ask where you're from, they can just listen to your name and say, "Oh, this man's son." I grew up in the Rage Enclave at Osu, and you know, our parents were so united. We loved ourselves. People, what affected this affected the other person.
yeah.
I remember so well when a guy, I don't know where the gentleman was from, but he collapsed around the State House area. I remember how, you know, people came to his aid. I was young then, but the way they, you know, that time I don't think there were so many ambulances around. I remember this man, Mr. Bading, he bought his car and they just grabbed this guy inside. But you see, the hearts of men and wickedness has set into our society so badly. Well, it reminds me of a sad day when my brother-in-law dropped in front of Parkour Estate Domi, and they abandoned him until one gentleman cycling saw him and said, "This young man lives in that big house over there." You know, so I've had the taste of wickedness from people, so I know what it feels like. You know, but you see, are you aware as we sit here, you are property of this state, that you can't even take your own life? I mean, it's a crime.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Well, I mean,
That-
it's been
you're a property of this
decriminalized,
state.
but yeah.
You know, you are a property of this state. You go ahead, you train people. This matter, this is a criminal matter to start with. It's crime against humanity. I mean, they've committed. He says, I mean, I respect Minister say that, look, we want to go investigate. The action of dumping that man, that woman in that state alone is criminal. Nothing will change it.
True.
It's criminal.
I agree with
So somebody in that bus, whether that person was the one who pushed the person out or not, sometimes we think the people who perpetrated the crime directly are the ones involved. The driver, whether he held the man's hand or not, he's also part of it.
Yeah.
Did he report? Did he say this? I mean, how we got to know of it, we'll go forward with it. Very unprofessional conduct. And it goes against the ethics of a profession. They knew what to do. They knew where to take him. But they decided to take this wicked, callous, barbaric act. You know, that, you see, what at all would make somebody think this? I mean, Just say abada bia tema bia ni ho janka di lo denche. Me be lo denche. Like wicked people. You don't wait for a man to see a man dagger a man with another sword or shoot a man. This is wickedness.
Yeah.
This is barbaric alone. I mean, it was a poor decision and action taken by people who are supposed to provide health service. You see, the show love, empathy, something around the heart to show empathy for somebody, and then you go to the opposite of it. We have to go forward. I mean, it's a good first start to set up a committee. Knowing my country and committees, knowing this my country and committees, I hope my own brother and friend Okoboy does something better. The committee 30 days.
If you look at the people that are on the committee, I don't doubt that we're going to get a very good and swift outcome.
Look, this is a swift one.
Yeah.
Good to ask him to step aside. I mean, interdict him. That's a good one. But the committee said, I want to believe that they'll come up. You see, we need the report in record time. This report on this very thing, we need it in record time. And then we should also guide ourselves with fairness, transparency, but at the end of it, the punitive action should be harsh. If there's anything like killing they said killing the fly with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
This one we have to use matepo. You see that metal, the shot put, the one we throw it like that, the round, the heavy one. That's what we have to use to kill the fly right now. The height of wickedness, you drive the person and then throw the person in the bush. I think we should revoke license of those who did this to save others. We are revoking the license and stopping them from that tradition of wickedness to save you and I. It could have been me. We have to improve our monitoring systems. You know, if there are cameras in this van and, you know, those service where they had their cameras on, I'm not sure, you know, we will lose sight of this one. Just the moment they were taking such actions, you know, we can...
Yeah, but I'm not sure they'll do the way body cams. So.
You know, so we should think about all this. We need to apply harsh punitive measures, like I said. We need to reorient and groom these service providers. And then let us remember when we're all Ghanaians. We must commensurate with and compensate the family. It is if we are able to.
But has anybody come out yet so far as a family member? Because that's one of the challenges that we have.
If we should see them, I mean, you know, we should just find a way of, you know, commensurating with them, and then, you know, for you know, they don't even know. You say this is an accident victim. Where are the family members? They might be living in one part of Ghana. People move and come and struggle and hustle in some of the regions without family members not even not knowing where exactly they are, but they know they are in somewhere in a central region or Greater Accra. But you see, somebody can even migrate from the north, come and live in Accra, but might be on the way going to the western part of the country. And this happens. So that's how these things can happen. May God, you know, continue to protect all of us, my dear brother. But just note, when things like this happen, the reason why some of us are very passionate is that it could have been me.
Yeah.
It could be me. And I have family. I don't think I see all my family members in a year. Sometimes I'm 2-3 years, you've not seen the person. You might even be speaking with the person on phone, but you've not had a direct contact. Okay. So let's improve our systems. Right. Health is a very, very, very important, essential service. All right. And we should be able to assess it.
Thank you. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we're back, there's more on the news review segment right here on Breakfast Daily. All right, welcome back. It's the holiday edition of Breakfast Daily, and we're having a news review segment and having conversations right here on ChannelOne TV. You're welcome if you've just joined us. The show is interactive. We do want to hear from you. How are you enjoying your holiday, and what are the thoughts you have on the various conversations we're having here? Now, the WhatsApp line is 0204-447-033. Get in touch with us. Let us know what you think about the conversations. Just gone by, we're talking about the patient who was dumped in a bush at Gomwa Ojobi, apparently from the Winneba Trauma Hospital, where she was on admission, and for some reason, some medical personnel felt that she was being a nuisance and decided to drop her off by the roadside, exposed to the elements, whether it's sunny, whether it's raining. They didn't care. And so an investigation has been put underway to make sure that we get to the bottom of this and find those who are culpable and hold them accountable. Let's move on. And the next story we're going to be looking at is the constitutional amendments. And there's a review committee that has proposed some changes. Now, I have a couple of questions when it comes to this because we have been making review commendations for some time now. At least the one that I remember clearest is from the Atta Mills's time, the president Atta Mills of blessed memory. During his time, there was a commission that was tasked with the responsibility of making some reviews, and they did. And almost none of those reviews have been implemented. Let me just quickly get into this. So the Constitutional Review Committee has recommended setting limits on the number of members of parliament and ministers. The Constitutional Review Consultative Committee in Parliament has put forward a proposal to limit the number of members of Parliament. The committee suggests necessary changes to Article 93 to limit the elected members of Parliament to a maximum of 277. It has also proposed that Article 47 of the Constitution be amended accordingly to divide Ghana into a number of constituencies for MP elections as determined by the Electoral Commission, with a total of not more than 277. And it goes on there. In the last statement there, it says here, the committee also stated that the president should appoint only as many ministers of state as needed for effective governance, but not more than 25. All right, Capital, I'll start with you on this one.
Yes, I think these calls are very sacrosanct, and I pray we uphold, adopt, and implement it. Let's cap the members of parliament.
Incidentally, before you continue,
yes, sir.
There's another story that says the parliament, the Constitutional Review proposes taxes on the salaries for presidents. So that is also another issue. So the same committee sat and there were different recommendations. This was also one of them. So go ahead.
And like I said, like from the MPs, capping the number of MPs, I think is very important, and it's good. We don't want any increase in the numbers. Possibly even think about reducing them. Merging some of the constituencies and reducing the total number of MPs we have. Also, the call for the president to pay taxes, I think, is also very, very important. Working in the spirit of leadership by example, and then also we must contribute a little. Everybody must come on board. Indeed, what are the real issues? The constitutional structural adjustment is needed to reform and improve society. Some of the things that the Constitution itself does is to guide all of us to move in the proper direction. And I think it's important. The Constitution itself made this provision to cure itself as we move on of some of these challenges we might be seeing that we need to correct them. It's actually, when you look at it carefully, the calls they've made grants us some savings. There is a good move to ensure that as a country, we do not give ourselves any, our best cost in future, so that tomorrow we come and hear 500 MPs. I mean, you can easily hear, we are in Ghana. I mean, when you were 92, I was around. Yeah. I mean, I know the numbers, and then now this is where we are. So we should be very careful. It's also actually to improve contribution when it comes to the call for president to actually pay taxes out of their salary. I mean, why should a man who is earning people are earning as low as 500,000 cedis, in this country. And we should be thinking of rather winning them off taxes rather than a high earner like the president with all the prerogative and the powers that lay on his table to walk away without paying taxes. In fact, the sign of him paying taxes could even improve and affect positively compliance. So it's a very important move.
But, Kabute, right. The truth of the matter is that how many of our presidents actually touch their salary? Because literally, they don't pay for anything.
Okay.
So he's not even going to spend his money.
So even then,
what are you talking about?
Tell me which president touches their money while they're in office.
What are you talking about, Koku?
So you know what?
Because they don't buy anything.
No, I'm just saying that. You are saying tax the president.
Right.
The man doesn't even touch that salary. Do you understand?
Who told you
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that don't tax. I'm saying that we should do a more comprehensive.
What pays for the
review.
side chicks?
What do you? What pays for what?
Let's continue.
See the mischief.
What they are saying, I mean, like you're rightly saying, it even shows that with the privileges to them, and even you remember when we were in school, class prefect, there will be a man. It is a normal thing. You see it around. Priest, the priest in the church. We go and we just give him something, you know. The leadership, I mean, we would like to give to leaders from our own ways of an arrangement. So that those privileges will always be around. It's not only president, I mean, the leaders, you know, when Christmas time, people who hold high offices, go to their house. You see hampers there in loads. A friend of mine, his father was a CEO of one of the agencies. Christmas time, he said when the father left office, the next Christmas, they didn't see hampers in their house. It was because of a position. That's why the hampers were coming. So imagine a president. I mean, they'll bring the people who dash the president's cars and you know. So
things he doesn't need.
Exactly, they'll dash it.
It's just the nature.
So if
of
it comes to the matter of tax, I mean, he's paying tax.
Is the least they can.
I thought they would even go for it and say maybe his salary, half of it, should be automatic to the state. I mean, that would be a good service to the people. But also, I thought they should also add review and to the need to expunge ex gratia from the benefits of MPs
the 71
and
article, 71,
yes, let's expand that one and then find a way forward. I think clearly we need to adopt these provisions that they have called for. It is very important. But a friend of mine prompted me just 3 days ago in our conversation that he's being careful on the call to reduce powers of presidents, but because he thought, look, if these powers went to some of these agency heads, when you hear them, they are posturing. You can imagine if some of them had the powers not to be, you know, directly under the president. I have also thought that line of thought and said, look, if that bamboozling and moving strong hand to do things, if presidents had used it for positives, I thought, you know, I mean, it would have affected us positively. So let's hasten slowly on those sides. But it is important that we actually review the Constitution as time goes on and then, you know, prepare our society for the best. I still strongly believe that this country must be better and can be better and should be better by our efforts.
Okay. Mensa, I was doing a quick calculation. China has roughly, and I'm going to play in rough numbers, China has roughly 3,000 MPs. But they have a population in excess of 1 billion people, right? Now, if you do that calculation, if we were to use China's numbers to juxtapose with ours, our population would have to be 100 million Ghanaians for it to be commensurate, which means that they are actually using far fewer people to govern 1 billion people than we are.
Yes, Kweku, you know, I want to start off from where Jeff left off.
Okay.
Jeff, I hope you are talking about, which of the reviews are you talking about? The one that means cancellation or
constitutional review. We said constitutional review.
So constitutional cancellation.
Constitutional review in Parliament. It was very specific.
So constitutional cancellation.
This young man made my morning, right?
Because it's a holiday, you have just decided you are chilling on the show.
What he's saying, this country, we should be careful with the way we understand some words during some period. And all of a sudden, the word changing to something.
No, but we cannot let anybody hijack the basic English meaning of a word that we know.
I like that.
Yeah, it's simple. You cannot hijack it and make
Were
it
you not
own.
in this country when some people told us review means cancellation?
You submit your point. Let's go. Let's
But Kuku says we should stand where we do.
We were here, people told us review means
But Kuku
cancellation.
says we should go with the one we
if
do.
today somebody is telling me review the Constitution,
Says
my
mischievous.
mind is cancel the
Can you see the young
Constitution.
man's mischievous face?
This is just mischief, full mischief.
But you see, Kweku, the accounts have an adage that says, woe unto you if they mention your name to make a law. Woe unto you if they mention your name to make a law.
But say that in
See,
Chi, let me see.
say, you bow din shemra adie. Not just say, wo das ban boni bi edi na wo usu ban boni ntin Usuban yɛhyɛ ho mmara wɔ kurom hɔ adie. Why has all this conversation about reviewing of the constitution, reduce the powers of the president, reduce the number? Why has that become necessary? Because of President Akufo-Addo. That's all.
What are you saying?
That is all, Kweku. You see, before we have had the parliament, I mean, the numbers of the MPs of parliament, I think they use a certain percentage of the population. And as the population increase, then, they carve out, some constituencies out of certain constituencies. Then the politicians began to abuse it. And that one is not peculiar to only one party. Every party try to, create some constituencies out and get some numbers. Okay. But that has not been done opulently. We have the same thing with our courts, our Supreme Court, our judiciary. The Supreme Court, the Constitution, did not put a cap on the number of judges that were supposed to have in the Supreme Court. Because reasonably, the framers of the Constitution envisaged that we will always have a reasonable president. The one who will always conform to precedents. The one who will keep the status quo.
Yeah, but that's a little, mundane in the sense that society evolves. So you can't look at
Koku, I agree. I perfectly agree with you. And so yes, society will evolve to a point where you will get somebody who just doesn't have a chill and will abuse the processes recklessly to the detriment of the Constitution itself. Koku, today, how many Supreme Court judges do we have? How many? We've moved from 9 justices to where? To how many?
Oh, the last
over 22.
Yeah, the last I had we crossed 20. Yeah.
Over 22. And if you leave Akufo-Addo, if you give him another 2 years, there will be 50 Supreme Court judges.
I'm not sure how.
Don't add how.
I'm not sure
okay,
how,
let me do simple extrapolation.
I'm not sure
within
how,
7 years, within 7 years, President Akufo-Addo have added not less than 15 justices to the Supreme Court. 15 divided by 7. And you see
that's 2 a year.
So the rate of addition.
2 a year. And so if you give him 2 more years.
So you see, so add.
And that's 4. 2 a year.
So currently, 4. How are we now?
No, that's 4 more. You say we'll be up to 50.
No. The rate of Koku, what I'm talking about. So 2, then the next year is 4, the next year is 6, the next year he has 8. That's how he just double it up.
Man, so I don't agree with you.
Yeah, Koku, I don't expect you to agree. But I'm saying that, given the reckless nature of President Akufo-Addo, if you give him another 2 years, we'll have 50 Supreme Court justices. How many justices of the Court of Appeal has President Akufo-Addo appointed? You see, the Constitution itself, the previous Constitution, they envisaged this, and that is why they said the exercise of discretionary powers should not be exercised arbitrarily and capriciously.
And who determines that?
Kogu?
Who determines whether it's arbitrary or capricious?
Kogu? If
and I agree with the Constitution.
Okay.
I agree. But then who says this one is arbitrary, this is capricious?
Based on the actions. Every law, nobody determines what action is. It's by conduct.
Okay, then who?
So
what's the remedy for that?
Okay, so no, I'm coming. Let me explain the capriciousness.
Okay.
If you inherit a Supreme Court of 9 justices, purely apolitical, you come and you appoint over 15 justices of the Supreme Court and failed even the ones that have been retired. You failed them. Appointed, how do you call it? Former parliamentary candidates, former national executives of the party, persons actively known to be political persons onto the bench. Tell me if this is not the exercise of discretionary powers in a capricious manner. How isn't this capricious? So, of course, the Constitution should be amended. We need to review the Constitution so that we explicitly put limitations on the exercise of certain discretionary powers, which we thought we were always going to have wise presidents who abide by it. Unfortunately, that principle has been defeated by President Akufo-Addo. We know that we can have a president and woe unto us if we don't amend it. Woe unto us.
But any country that has found their constitution to have open challenges that allow people legally to take decisions that, like you're saying, capricious and all of that, they amend.
Kwaku, in my view,
The American Constitution has more amendments than any other constitution I know.
Kwaku, in my view.
So let's amend.
Kwaku, I'm coming. In my view, I'm in support of the amendment.
Let's not depend on wise presidents.
No,
let's amend.
No, that's the point I'm making. Kwaku, in my view, this constitution is perfectly fine, has no problem.
Except it needs amendments.
No. In my view, if you ask me, this constitution is fine.
I don't agree with you.
Yes. Kwaku, this is the same constitution former President Rawlings, who was a former military dictator. This is the constitution he used to rule this country for 8 years.
Yes. You know, you realize that we're in 2024, not 1992.
Kwaku, I'm coming.
The society has evolved.
This is the same constitution President Kufuor used for 8 years.
Yeah, times have changed.
Kwaku, this is the same constitution Atta Mills.
What you're essentially saying is that regardless whether times change or not, we should stick by the old.
Kwaku, this is the
same old way we did things.
Kwaku, this is the same constitution that President Mahama
What's your point?
used.
Please learn from me.
So I'm saying that when you are trying to identify a problem, so all these things are here. There are problems. There's a problem here. So you eliminate this. What has changed? You ask yourself within this period. What has changed within this period?
Changed? A lot of things.
The constitution has remained constant.
Yes. But the
it is only the occupant of the office of the president.
The society of Ghana has outgrown the constitution.
Kwaku.
How about that?
Kwaku, this is debatable.
Of course, it's debatable. That's what
it's
we're debating.
debatable. And
we don't have time to debate.
And we don't have time to go into it. And so I can tell you why this constitution could be used in a very fair and proper manner.
Okay.
Without the capricious, reckless, criminal intent of certain occupants
10 seconds, please wrap it up for
President Kwaku, you've been interjecting.
10 seconds, please.
Otherwise, this constitution can be used fairly.
Okay.
I'm saying that in 1992, in 2000, under Kufuor, in 2007, in 2014, 2015, 2016, the calls for a constitutional review has not been as louder as it is under the tenure of President Akufo-Addo. And that's why I premised my statement. Kwaku, why do you differ with everything that I say? Yes, of course.
Because Atta Mills paid a lot of money to get a whole constitutional review to take place.
Kwaku, I'm saying that.
Yes.
The need for constitutional review has never been greater as it is now under President Akufo-Addo.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You cannot argue about this.
No problem. Fair enough. Let's move on.
The need to curtail the powers. Kwaku, you didn't allow me to make my point, so you give me another 1 minute.
No, I give you 10 seconds.
No, Kwaku, then stop interjecting me. The need for constitutional review has never been greater like it is under the tenure of President Akufo-Addo. It has never been this greater. The need to curtail the powers of the president has never been greater as it is now. Why? Because of President Akufo-Addo's actions conduct the last 7-8 years. And that is why I premise my statement by saying that if they mention your name to make a law,
Okay, thank you very much. If you mention your name to make a law, we're going to look at the final topic of conversation: erratic power supply. Greco announces a 3-week load shedding regime because of a gas supply shortage. Let me quickly read that story for you, and we'll wrap this up. All right, so let's get right into it. Okay, it looks like, all right. But I'm sure you've come across that story, right? Okay, let's start with you on that.
Just this Friday, in a meeting with Emmanuel ASEP and NRGI organized, a forum at
Yes.
Alisa.
Yes.
And in a brief meeting, I with the agencies, GRIDCO to include GRIDCO, ECG, and then the regulator, the PURC. The ECG's rep said they are unable to tell us the quantum of power, the gap shortage to be created
Yes.
by the cut in supply from the West African gas pipeline.
Yes.
And in effect, they could not give a timetable. Let me tell you what, it made me remember my late father-in-law so much. He's a former CEO of VRA, Joshua Ofedie. Before he took the reins of being the chief executive officer, no CEO had then been able to stay on for 4 years. I would always tout him. If you think because he's my father-in-law, yes, I'll tout him in his grave. I'll tout him in his grave.
Yeah.
These were the people who held on, and it was laughable, some of the things he told me about how unserious we were about our management of the gas system in Ghana. The way we're flaring it, some of them advised. People didn't listen. And that's why we are where we are. And then what are the issues today? There's no timetable, envisaged, because the man says they can't even measure the quantum to know whatever they will plan. And it has been said already, so we know.
Let me quickly just read the statement from GRIDCO. So it says here, power supply issues. The story is actually on news, ChannelOneNews.com, but I'm reading the statement part of it. It says that power supply issues, Ghana gas challenge from Nigeria. And it says here, Accra, Thursday, 13th of June, 2024, the Ghana Grid Company Limited, GRIDCO, and the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, wish to inform the public that due to a reduction in gas supply from Nigeria since yesterday, that's Wednesday, 12th of June, some areas across the country have experienced interruption in power supply. Now, the West African Gas Pipeline Company, WAPCO, in a statement has explained that the reduction in gas supply was due to maintenance works being undertaken by a gas supplier in Nigeria and is projected to last 3 weeks. Now, the maintenance has caused reduction in overall power generation capacity in Ghana, which could result in load management over the period of the work. GRIDCO and ECG, however, wish to assure the public that we are collaborating with other stakeholders in the power value chain to optimize available resources to ensure minimal impact of the reduction in gas supply on consumers. And it is signed off by GRIDCO and ECG. Now, before you continue your submission, I just wanted to say that it's a little bizarre to me that you can see that power has reduced, but you are saying you don't know by how much. Right. So when the power comes back to normal, the gas supply comes back to normal, would you know how much it has come up by? Yes. Do you understand?
Yes.
I don't
in
know
the
if you
meeting,
understand my logic.
we were perplexed, we were confused, we were bemused. We're just looking at, I don't know. But for a moment, I think some of those technical men, they are disrespecting us. From the way they speak, some of them, they disrespect us. When he was speaking, I wonder who he was speaking to. Our good friend Kofi Kapito, he was just laughing loud. He was just, he was off the kick. He was like, he didn't get it. We didn't get it. Franklin Kujo and the rest were all in there. We're just looking at him. I mean, how could you say this? And then you read this publication from them that says that that it was that cut that caused some areas to go off. Why? The power comes directly from the Nigerian source to those people. Look, you are our senior brothers, but you are not our fathers. I'm 46 years. They are not 80. They are not 80. Once they are still, most of them are still in work, then that means they are not 60 yet. So these are my big brothers. And I can respect them.
But you're older than some of the people that are managing the place.
Sorry?
You're older than some of the people who are managing
I'm telling you. Yeah. And you look in my face, in my girl face, and tell me that you can understand and listen and correct it correctly that it is those places were cut because of the supply from the West African gas pipeline. It means it affected some plant, which is distributing to those places. So don't say as if the gas ran straight into the people's lines in their homes.
Yeah.
Look, we are not children. Look, some of us, our family is VRA. My uncle was the head of technical services. He was the head electrical engineer for VRA for years. He's still alive. GTO Council in Tema Committee 7. He's still alive. My cousins are working with VRA, and some are at Gridco. We some of us, the same VRA, it actually pulled my family down. My great grandfather, the canoe fisherman, yes, carpenter, canoe carpenter, Akpewolonin. So we know the history of VRA before it came to what they are calling Gridco and Bui and all these ones that have come to
Okay,
split.
please wrap it up.
You don't come and sit with us talking to us and then disrespect us after. Look, we know a little mathematics. You can't come and sit and tell you don't know the quantum, but you know that 3 weeks time you'll be doing some power surge, whatever. Bring a timetable. You know what you are talking about.
Okay.
Look, let's not play politics with this one. Transparency is important.
Yeah.
There's also the weak energy to collect from the state institutions that parliament inclusive. Parliament. Let me remind parliament. They also they are included. And there are big state institutions that look, there's generally also the poor collection from other people. Illegal connections also killing us. Then the poor metering. As I speak with you in Parako Estate alone, I have on my lane 2 houses that are using postpaid meters. And there are other houses that have meters, the prepaid one. That they have come around the area and are changing those ones. And I'm like, what is wrong? They are just confused.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Quickly before you submit.
Why are you worried?
Quickly.
The minister who's supposed to see.
It's all about procurement matters.
No, it's okay. We don't have time. Okay,
my brother.
Please submit. Last submission.
Tomorrow or next week, they are going to announce the minister as running mate. The minister who is supervising this
That's the problem.
incompetence.
Is that the problem?
Isn't it the problem? Koku,
No.
Is that not a problem?
Well, that's why we're doing.
It's not a problem
That's
for
why
you?
we're doing load
Koku,
management.
that in the midst of such, avoidable, bedeviling power crisis, the minister who is supervising it, the party in government is happy and is going to announce that person as a running mate.
But you don't know this.
They are going to Koku. This is a foregone conclusion.
You are a
Koku,
prophet.
me and you.
Or you have a crystal ball.
This matter is a foregone conclusion. So the guy,
if it's not announced, what should we do to him?
for the last few,
Baza, you are asked
Oh,
that
my brother.
If
clause.
he is not announced,
Clause. If he is not announced
As
as
the
a running mate
what
of
should
the
we do to
presidential candidate.
why am I the one going to announce him?
but they're just making claims here right now that you'll be
But they are
announced.
going to announce him. Koku, that's a fact. Please, this is not a matter we should waste time on. The fact of the matter is that the guy who is supposed to sit in the office,
Right.
okay, and supervise these various agencies and ensure that we are served properly in terms of utility service with respect to power. He's not interested though.
How do you say he's not
But he's
interested?
not seen on any campaign trail.
Huh?
Exactly.
Really?
I've
Last
not
week
seen
when
him
the
before.
I haven't
vice
seen him
president,
anywhere.
should I show you video? Last week when the vice president was in Kumasi.
Okay, so you know what?
So
No, I'm taking your time is up.
No, Koku,
No,
why?
your time is up.
But Koku, how much did I speak?
Listen. Your time is up.
So the guy is not interested.
Right.
So if you are even lucky, they are giving you 3 weeks.
Okay, your time
You
is
are
up. Thank
even
you
lucky.
very
It could be
much.
one.
By the way,
it could be the next
if you
6
go,
months.
by the way, if you go to the WAPCO website,
Right.
So they also did a press release on their website on June 12th. It says here, the West African Pipeline, West African Gas Pipeline Company Limited, WAPCO, regrets to announce that it is experiencing a drop in gas volumes available for the transportation due to ongoing maintenance works by one of its gas producers in Nigeria. Okay, one of the producers of natural gas, WAPCO Transports from Nigeria, has shut down its facility. Take note of the wording. Its facility for a 3-week maintenance due to resulting in a decrease of gas available for WAPCO to transport to customers in Togo, Benin, and Ghana. Now, if an entire plant has shut down, we know the volume that plant puts out. So how is it that we are still lost
Why do
on
we
how
have
much
Ghana-
volume
Koku,
we are
Koku,
getting?
Koku, why did we set up Ghana Gas?
Thank you very much
we've,
to my
we've signed,
guest this
we've
morning.
signed up the gas we are getting from Ghana gas to Gensa.
Okay.
Cheaply.
Let me say a big
Cheaply.
thank
You
you
are
to
here
my guest.
complain about these
My
people. They
guest this
deserve to be
morning,
lashed.
Mensa Thompson, he in the lashing mode. He's the executive director for the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA, and Jeffrey Kabute Okasi, executive director for Revenue Mobilization Africa.
The Muslim community, you have to wish them
Yes.
Baraka de Sanla.
Yeah.
But also tell them that look, Christmas is just in the corner.
So what
They do to us today, to the close of day, will be applied
in December?
in December. Yes.
Wow.
Kwaku, this is serious because serious. I have Muslim
I
friends.
didn't see you to be a tit for tat kind of guy.
Kwaku, no, you see,
Gentlemen.
I'll try and visit them
Ladies and
today.
gentlemen, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.